Hi, I'm Ilene Dillon. Welcome to the Gifts of Wisdom Summit, where we're featuring conversations from the authors or with the authors of the newly published book, Gifts of Wisdom, Practices for Healing and Empowerment by David McLeod. David McLeod is our lead author, and then we have 21 more authors. You're looking at 3 of them on your screen right now. And we want to invite you to be sure to grab your copy on Amazon. There's a link below this video because this incredible collection showcases 22 authors, and each one of them shares a powerful life experience that they've had, and then what they learned from that life experience. And then they share with you their learning so that if you have the issue or you're interested in exploring it, you can do that also. And these stories are designed to inspire and empower and uplift you. And it's been really exciting being part of this book that's been shepherded by our lead author, David McLeod. We've all been meeting twice a month for close to a year as we got to know each other and reflected different ideas about life itself and living it for a period of time and things that are of importance in our world. And so we know you're going to enjoy this book. So our interview topic, oh, by the way, I'm author of chapter 12. And our interview topic today is shattered. How to super glue your pieces together. And I will say, Star, I really appreciated reading about shards. And Star, you have stated that that our super glue is grounding and energy, and that's available. Grounding and energy are available to us 24/7. And so in your chapter, you say that you walk us through an easy connection exercise aiming to help us discover how to immediately awaken our sense of belonging and realign ourselves with the stability, beauty, and magic of life. I love that statement. And I want to also comment that I really enjoyed reading your writing. Your writing is like prose that's poetry. It was really wonderful.
Thank you.
All
I'm
right.
honored.
And yeah. So let me introduce Janette Stuart, who's another author in this book, and so that you can tell us more about Star.
Well, thank you, Ilene, and it's such an honor to be here today. So I'm so pleased to introduce Star Studonivic, and she wrote chapter 21, When You're Shattered, Creating Wonder and Magic from the Pieces. And a bit about Star is that Star Studonivic is a Reiki Master and certified yoga instructor. Her yoga specialties are Primal movement, which can be done seated yoga, restorative yoga, and basic fundamental yoga. Her classes are particularly designed for those who are movement challenged. Primal movement is based upon Annie Adamson's Primal Vinyasa, and the website is primalvinyasa.com. Star's most humbling experience, and there have been many, was with a student who is wheelchair-bound, quadriplegic, whose reason for attending class was simply because class enabled her to breathe easier and know she was part of a community and accepted. She taught the entire class about connection. Star also uses tuning forks, essential oils, and crystals to assist with Reiki sessions as well as ritual work. Her ritual work is tailored to the needs of her client. She's also a calligrapher and artist. One of her calligraphy offerings is Ancestor Messages. a lifelong interest and study in maintaining optimal good health led to becoming a distributor of completely natural health-enhancing products. So, welcome, Star.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, especially with you two. Both
Thank
of
you.
your chapters are astounding.
Thank you. I think we think that about everybody's chapter, and I hope our readers do too. I shared on another interview that someone that I know got the book and read and got no further than Dave's chapter and cried so hard she couldn't go any further. She said, "I'm buying a paperback copy so I can read this with my husband. He needs to hear this." So
Awesome.
it's an astounding book. So Star, I mentioned that we met with each other for quite a while, and I'm wondering if you had any particular gift or surprise that occurred for you during the process of writing this book, Gifts of Wisdom.
How about both a gift and a surprise?
Okay, all right.
The surprise was the amount of vulnerability it took to do this. And I felt that from every single one of us, that we pretty much had to rip open the veneer, show our hearts, and hold hands and dive in the deep end of the pool. And what we did was do it. And that's what took the courage. So it was a gift and a big surprise that amount of vulnerability came forth. There's that protective shell that we all want to keep part of ourselves inside and not expose our hearts. And that wasn't a go in this book. This was all or nothing. And I felt that from every single author. So that was a big surprise.
I cannot argue with you.
Right.
So
Exactly. And Star, what are you most excited to share with our audience today?
I'm excited to share everything that we wrote, but collectively, all of us talked about the very worst things that have happened to us. And we showed a path out of that and how we changed ourselves, because it all is about your perception and how you change your reaction to circumstances. Every one of us did that. We were able to change who we were, how we were in the world, believe in ourselves, find a way through this tangled mess of life, and come out maybe not shining right away, but with enriched and full and beautiful lives, no matter what happened to us. And the book is about how we got there.
Awesome.
wow,
So it
that's very
creates
well.
a pathway of that.
I want to follow up on that pathway thing. How do you recommend a person goes about choosing a pathway, this pathway for themselves?
That's a whole lot about listening to yourself, which most of us haven't learned to do until we've been through a few experiences. And a lot of it is about your path. Let go of expectations of other people. Let go of expectations of yourself. Take away the I ought to do this. Don't listen to someone says, here, this is what you should do. You should do this and work here and do that. No. Listen to what your inner voice says. Spend some time with yourself. What are you good at? What makes you light up? What makes you laugh? What are you good at? For instance, my dad was an engineer. I did not inherit that gene. Be very glad I didn't build anything because I can't. But my best story about that was he had me put together a picnic table and it ended up looking like Paul Bunyan because I forgot to cross the legs. That's not my strong suit. So that wouldn't be a career I would go into. But what did I really want to do? And it doesn't have to be one path. There's more than one path. Find the one that speaks to you the most. What makes you sing? What makes you feel good? and then weave the other experience into that. That path is going to change several times throughout your life. But listen to yourself, not the shoulds.
And Star, what can you share with someone that seemingly has lost their way or lost their hope? What can they do?
I think we've all been there. And one of the things that you can do is just simply stop in your tracks when you're in that position. Breathe. Breathe is the basis of everything. Well, actually, we come into this breath with life and leave without it. Concentrate on your breath. Ground yourself, and we'll go over that a little bit later. And think of something that you're grateful for. There's always something. Gratitude changes the whole energy of hopelessness. And if you can come up with just one thing you're grateful for, think about that, embody that, truly allow yourself to feel it, and then allow that to move to something else you're grateful for. It can be as simple as the fact I woke up this morning. I'm alive and whole. I can get up and move. I can fix my breakfast. Really, really simple things. Don't make it complicated. Those are things to be grateful for. And gratitude will change that energy of hopelessness.
That
What
would
do you
make a
guys
great
think about
bumper
that?
sticker. I think it would make a great bumper sticker. A great gratitude changes energy of hopelessness. So that's awesome, Star.
That's really great. But Star, uh, sometimes I'm a person who very enthusiastically gets. By the way, my father was an engineer also, and I'm glad that I didn't visit that upon the world. But I get very enthusiastic, and I do things, and I end up overwhelming myself, and then I'm not always on my path. How do I? What do you recommend for me to get back on my path?
Again, breath. And a lot of it is just stop doing for a moment. When you're overwhelmed, you've got all of this stuff coming in and you can't sort it out. So grounding, put your feet on the ground, take a breath, shut your eyes, turn off all sensory objects around you, turn off your phone, your computer, sit there with yourself. And what you can do is come up, what is the one most important thing I need to do right now? Write it down. Open your eyes to do that. It works a whole lot better. But when you're thinking about, yeah, writing with your eyes closed doesn't work. I've tried that. So narrow it down to what's the most important thing. What makes sense now? What has to be done for a deadline tomorrow? That would be at the top of my list. Cleaning out my closet might be down at the very bottom. But start with something simple, the breath. Move to the most important thing on your list, and then do that one thing and cross it off your list. Then come up with something else. Because sometimes I find myself scattered. I'll be sitting here, I've got this deadline, I need to write this, I need to do this class thing. And what I need to do is simply stop in my tracks. Don't get myself into that rabbit hole of, oh my God, I can't get everything done. There's too much. I'm overwhelmed. I'm going to go take a nap and pull the covers over my head. No. Find out what the most important and critical thing is and do it. And once you've done something, the rest of it starts to fall into place. But doing nothing doesn't help the situation at all. Are you guys list makers by any chance?
Every Sunday.
Yes.
Some days, yeah. I found I work a lot better with a list. Sometimes at night I'll make a list of, okay, what should I really do tomorrow? And I can select what the most important thing is. And it's a great sense of accomplishment to just put a line through that. Okay, that one's done. Move on. And if you still have stuff at the end of the day, and if you've done your best, call it good and you're done.
That's great.
You know, Star, I really appreciate your comments. I was a single parent for 20 years and I felt so overwhelmed. And I had a very dear friend, and I asked her, what do I drop out? What can I? And she gave me this
You don't have to
phrase,
do
which I think,
everything.
well, she gave me a phrase that I think supports what you're talking about. It was, there's enough time for everything, instead of saying there isn't. And
That needs to be another bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
right,
there's
enough
enough
time
time
for
for everything.
everything.
right,
That's
right.
great. So what about Star? What about if we're feeling isolated from everything that's going on around us? What do you suggest?
Well, in the first place, we do the isolation and the separation, and that's actually a form of self-protection. So I think the very fastest way to find connection, again, is with breath and life. So do this with me. Put your left hand on your stomach. Allow softness. Allow your breath to move down as low as possible into that softness. And then put your right hand on your heart. Feel the pulse. The breath is connection. Breath is connection with every living thing and even every inanimate object that surrounds you. Your heartbeat is life. You have living things around you. Touch the leaf of a plant. Breathe the air and feel it. Walk outside in the rain. Do something sensory. Realize that when you're standing on the earth, you're not just connected to the earth below you. You're connected to the roots of the tree that run underneath that. You're connected to every blade of grass, every pebble of concrete, because you're standing on it and you're touching it, and that's connection. When you have those moments where you feel disconnected, breathe. Feel the heartbeat. Touch something. Open your eyes and look at something and totally focus on it. Listen to everything around you. What about scent? Pull in scent. Even if it's exhaust fumes when you're in traffic, you like it or not, you're connected to that exhaust fume. Replace that with a nice scent of a flower, but it's still connection. So remembering that we're the ones that pull that veil around us, and that everything is still there, and it always has been. It's just us creating the separation. These items didn't create the separation at all. They've always been there. So allow yourself to be part of that.
Well, thank you. That was a beautiful little exercise that we can do anytime we're feeling disconnected or out of our bodies. We can take the time to reconnect and know that we matter. So
Well,
thank you.
sometimes we allow, and again, back to breath. Have you ever been in traffic and you're gripping your steering wheel with a death grip and your breath is way up here and panicky, and you're pretty ungrounded at that point?
Right.
One of the things that happens with breath is the higher it is, the more it taps into the fight or flight response of your nervous system. So you want the parasympathetic nervous system to kick in, and you do that by lowering your breath. Have you ever watched a baby breathe? It's all tummy. It's all lower breath. That begins to lower you. Putting your feet on the ground connects you to the ground. Don't put your foot on the accelerator. You're not on the ground. You're in traffic. But allow that feeling of fullness from the bottom up to fill your cup up. And it takes the anxiety. A lot of times I'll find my shoulders up around my ears and I'm like this. Mm-hmm. And just allow that to move down and soften, expand everything in your lungs and in your tummy. And if you need to, create a big sigh when you exhale. and let go of the tension with that. That can help.
Great tips and great reminders.
So you've been giving us great gifts right here in this interview or this conversation that we're having. But one of the things I've enjoyed about this group and this book is that we're all offering a gift, and I'd like you to tell us what you are offering to people. I know the link is going to be for people to get it is going to be right below this video, but what are you offering to people?
I'm offering just a simple page-long, easy meditation to ground you, to connect you, and help you be part of this wonderful, inviting, throbbing, juicy world around you. It's something that you can do anywhere. It's a very simple piece of paper. It just gives you some tips. You do all the work. I just give you some guidelines to do that. But sometimes we need a written tool or instructions to follow, and that's what this is.
Yeah, it can be very helpful. All right, remember that the link is below this video. And it's time now for me to thank every one of you who has come to listen to this really fascinating conversation that had here, Janette and Star and me, Ilene, have had together. And tell your friends about our wonderful book, The Gifts. It's received international acclaim. We're international bestseller with this book. And you can tell from the people that you've been listening to, like Star, how much of this is us sharing our hearts with you. And that cannot go wrong. So get your own copy, whether it's an electronic version or a paperback. And thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Ilene. And I'd like to thank Star again for being here, for sharing so much beautiful wisdom in your chapter and here today in this conversation. So, Star, do you have a little parting bit of wisdom that you'd like to share with the audience before we tune off today?
Listen to your inner voice. It's actually your GPS to help you move through life. And trust yourself and know that you're enough.
Beautiful. Great gems to take with us.
That's 3 bumper stickers, Star.
I think so.
Okay, we should do that. And
we'll do that in our spare time.
Thank you so much for including me.
Thank you.
And thank you for your chapters.
Thank you. Great. And again, you can get Star's free gift here in the show notes below. And thank you so much for joining us in this Gifts of Wisdom Conversations.